Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where enduring wisdom meets the strength of presence, and where we uncover the truths modern society refuses to teach men. In a world that glorifies appearances over character, comfort over discipline, and validation over values, too many men have been conditioned to ignore red flags in the name of love, lust, or loneliness. But let's be clear, love is not blindness. Being a man of strength, discipline, and emotional presence does not mean you tolerate behavior that disrespects your value, disrupts your peace, or drains your purpose. There are lines that must never be crossed. And in this video, we're going to expose 4 unacceptable behaviors some women engage in that no man should ever tolerate, no matter how beautiful, charming, or seemingly in love she may be. We'll dive into ancient wisdom from the likes of Marcus Aurelius, Confucius, and even the samurai code of Bushido, alongside modern psychological insights and real-life examples of relationships that stood the test of fire or fell apart from unchecked toxicity. You'll learn how to protect your masculine dignity without becoming cold or closed, what emotionally intelligent boundaries look like in real love, and why self-respect is the foundation of all healthy relationships. Because here's the truth. A man who knows his worth does not beg, he does not chase, and he does not compromise his values just to keep someone by his side if she's costing you your peace, your focus, or your future. She's too expensive. By the end of this video, you'll not only see these 4 behaviors clearly, but you'll understand why walking away is sometimes the most loving and powerful move a man can make. So if you're ready to rise above the noise, reclaim your inner throne, and attract a relationship that builds you up instead of breaking you down, then like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Because it's time to lead, not follow. Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Disrespecting your masculine boundaries. In every strong man's life, there comes a moment where he must choose between peace or pleasing, between presence or passivity. And nothing tests that choice more than how a woman respects or violates his boundaries. Behavior number 1, disrespecting your masculine boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates. They don't keep love out, they protect it. A man without boundaries is like a city without walls, exposed to anything and ruled by nothing. And yet modern culture often mocks men for setting standards. You're called controlling, insecure, or toxic simply for refusing to tolerate disrespect. But history tells another story. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This applies not only to warfare or politics, but to relationships. When a woman continually ignores your values, mocks your purpose, or crosses lines you've clearly drawn, it's not just a personality clash, it's a violation of your masculine core. How this behavior shows up. Disrespecting boundaries can be subtle. She pressures you to break commitments you made to yourself. She dismisses your goals, treating your ambition as optional. She invades your peace, constantly texting, checking in, accusing you of things you haven't done. She makes jokes at your expense in public, then says, "You're too sensitive" when you bring it up. The message? Your standards don't matter, my comfort does. And when you stay silent in the name of keeping the peace, you reinforce the lie that your voice, your vision, and your mission are second place. Why strong men must enforce boundaries. A man's mission is sacred. Your goals, your craft, your time are not just personal luxuries, they are the pillars of your purpose, and any woman who cannot respect them cannot walk beside you. Imagine a warrior in feudal Japan, a samurai, training for years in discipline, swordsmanship, and strategy. Would he allow someone to knock his blade out of his hand mid-duel because she felt like talking? Number. The samurai's life was built around duty and code. His relationships were not meant to pull him off the path. They were meant to strengthen his walk along it. Modern men must reclaim that mindset. Setting boundaries isn't aggression. It's self-respect in action. When you calmly but firmly say, "This behavior doesn't align with the kind of relationship I'm building," you communicate leadership, clarity, and confidence. The emotionally intelligent man doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't beg for change. He doesn't sulk in silence hoping she'll get it. He speaks. Once, clearly. And if it continues, he walks away, not out of anger, but out of alignment. Real love honors limits. Look at strong, lasting couples. Men like Barack and Michelle Obama, or J.R.R. Tolkien and his wife, Edith. These relationships endured not because they were perfect, but because they were built on mutual respect for individual purpose and personal space. In Tolkien's case, his daily writing time was sacred. Edith respected that. She didn't interrupt, she didn't guilt him, she created an environment that nourished his gift. That's love, love that respects your solitude, your silence, and your sacred path. Warning, signs to watch for. If you're dealing with a woman who dismisses your spiritual or personal development, interrupts your moments of focus or flow, constantly asks you to choose her over your purpose, reacts with anger or guilt when you enforce time for yourself. Understand, this is not love. It's emotional dependency disguised as affection. And the longer you tolerate it, the more your edge dulls, your focus fades, and your soul forgets what it was forged for. What you must do as a man. 1. Identify your non-negotiables. These are the sacred parts of your life. Time for your craft, respectful communication, alignment with your mission. 2. Communicate them early, not in anger, but in clarity. I need this time each day for my work. I won't engage in yelling or passive aggression. I need respect for my values. 3. Stand firm when tested. She may test your resolve, that's natural, but your consistency proves your leadership. 4. Be willing to walk away. This is the ultimate test of strength. To choose loneliness over betrayal of self, to choose silence over chaos. Because here's the truth, if a woman cannot honor your boundaries, she cannot hold your heart. Love without respect is chaos. Attraction without boundaries is addiction. And a man who does not guard his energy will be drained by everyone and filled by nothing. Comment below, I honor my path. I do not negotiate my peace. Type it below. If you're done tolerating anything less than respectful love, let the world and yourself know where you stand. Chapter 2. Emotional manipulation and victimhood. Games. Every man has experienced it, that strange feeling in your gut when something doesn't add up. You spoke the truth, acted with clarity, and still, somehow you're the villain. You start second-guessing yourself, apologizing for things you didn't do, sacrificing your peace to avoid another emotional breakdown. What you're experiencing is not love, it's emotional manipulation. Behavior number 2, emotional manipulation and victimhood. Game's true love is built on truth, not tactics, but many men today are caught in emotional games disguised as relationships. And the most dangerous game of all is the victimhood trap, the mask of victimhood. There's a specific kind of manipulation that doesn't raise its voice, it plays weak. She's always the one who's hurt. She never takes responsibility. And any attempt to hold her accountable leads to tears, stonewalling, or flipping the blame. You say, "That crossed a line," and suddenly she's the victim of your tone. You say, "I need space to think," and now you're emotionally unavailable. You calmly express concern and you're labeled controlling, selfish, or cold. The manipulator's greatest weapon isn't rage, it's reversal. And if you're not grounded in your purpose, you'll fall for it. Not because you're weak, but because you're good-hearted, because you care. But emotional intelligence requires more than kindness, it demands clarity. Gaslighting and emotional confusion. This form of behavior has a name, gaslighting. Gaslighting is a psychological tactic where someone manipulates you into doubting your reality, your memory, and your perception. It starts small, denying simple events or twisting facts, and escalates into full-scale self-doubt. You begin asking, was I really too harsh? Maybe it was my fault. I guess I overreacted. No, but you didn't overreact. You finally reacted. You didn't become distant. You needed a boundary, but she's so good at making herself the victim that you start playing the role of rescuer, therapist, and redeemer all at once, while slowly forgetting your own worth. What emotionally intelligent men understand. Emotionally, intelligent men understand this. Love does not require the sacrifice of sanity. You are not responsible for someone else's unhealed trauma. You are not obligated to rescue someone from the consequences of their actions. And you are not cruel for enforcing your standards. Real men don't fall for crocodile tears when the tears are used as control, not connection. As Confucius taught, to see what is right and not do it is the want of courage. It takes courage to walk away from someone who makes you feel guilty for speaking your truth. It takes strength to look past the emotion and see the manipulation behind the mask. True love isn't a game. Consider this. One of the most enduring love stories in history is between C.S. Lewis and Joy Davidman. Their connection was built not on emotional dependency but intellectual respect, emotional maturity, and shared faith. Even as Joy battled cancer, their relationship was marked by deep mutual support, not drama. There were no games, no guilt trips, just truth, trust, and presence. That's what real love looks like, and that's what you must seek and protect. How to recognize emotional manipulation? Be alert to these warning signs. She cries every time she's held accountable. She uses your empathy against you. She weaponizes her past pain to excuse present toxicity. She threatens to leave or but never does, just to keep control. She flips every argument back onto you, no matter the issue. These are not emotional expressions. They are control mechanisms. And if you tolerate them, you train her to believe you will trade your integrity for her approval. What a man must do. 1. Pause and assess, not react. Don't get pulled into emotional storms. Observe patterns over time. 2. Keep emotional records. When patterns of guilt, blame, or false victimhood repeat, don't ignore them. Trust your perception. 3. Call out the behavior, not the emotion. I see you're upset. But this is the 3rd time this month I've been blamed for something that didn't happen. That's not healthy. 4. Detach with dignity. If you're constantly manipulated, it's not love, it's dependency. Walk away, not with drama, but with discipline. The Stoics taught that the wise man remains unmoved by external chaos, but not indifferent. You are not a stone. You feel, you care, but you are not to be manipulated. The greatest power you hold as a man is your ability to say, "This does not serve my peace," and I release it. Comment below. I protect my peace. I do not explain my worth. Type it below if you've ever been manipulated through guilt or blame, and you're ready to reclaim your clarity and your crown. Chapter 3. Constant disrespect and public humiliation. There's a form of slow erosion that doesn't come from shouting or betrayal, but from consistent little cuts to your self-respect. A sarcastic remark in front of friends, a mocking tone in public, a joke at your expense, followed by, "Relax, I was just playing." This isn't banter, this is disrespect dressed as humor, and over time it's not funny, it's emasculating. Behavior number 3, constant disrespect and public humiliation. Every man wants to feel admired, not worshipped, but respected. And in a healthy relationship, a woman's words should elevate you, not undress you emotionally in front of others. But in many modern dynamics, women are subtly or blatantly trained by culture to see men as either a joke, a prop, or a punching bag for their emotional drama. You've seen it. She interrupts you mid-sentence at a dinner party. She mocks your opinions in front of others. She casually shares your insecurities as if they're gossip. She corrects you in front of your own friends, not to add value, but to assert dominance. These are not quirks, these are red flags, the fall of respect. In ancient Rome, honor was everything, especially among the elite. A man who allowed his dignity to be publicly diminished was seen as unfit to lead, and worse, unfit to love. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, warned, "A man who suffers insult to his honor invites greater injury." Roman generals would rather walk into battle and die than return home with their name tarnished by public mockery or familial shame. Now imagine a modern man allowing himself to be verbally castrated at brunch because his girlfriend has a sharp tongue and a cheap sense of humor. That's not love. That's spiritual decay, the dangerous normalization of disrespect. Modern culture, fueled by media and social networks, often laughs at male suffering. Men getting yelled at, belittled or slapped is funny. Female rage is seen as empowerment. Masculine pride is labeled fragile ego. But ask yourself this, would it be okay if the roles were reversed? Would it be just a joke if a man insulted his woman's body, dreams, or intelligence in front of others? Of course not, because true respect goes both ways, and you deserve it, not because you demand it, but because you carry yourself with dignity, consistency, and leadership. Public disrespect is a private warning. Emotionally intelligent men understand this. What she says about you when others are watching reflects what she believes about you when no one is. It doesn't matter if she brings you gifts. It doesn't matter if she posts you on Instagram, if she tears you down in front of others. She's not your partner, she's your opponent. And if you let it slide once, it becomes a habit. Soon she's making comments about your money, your masculinity, your ambition, or your manhood. This isn't just disrespect. It's identity sabotage. Real love defends, not diminishes. Let's look at true historical love. Queen Victoria and Prince Albert were deeply devoted to each other and publicly always showed unified respect. Victoria admired Albert's intellect and purpose, and though she was queen, she deferred to his wisdom in many family matters. He, in turn, elevated her voice and protected her throne, not because he had to, but because he loved her. Real love protects your name, not plays with it. Real love guards your reputation, not gambles with it for attention or laughs. How to spot this behavior? Early watch for passive-aggressive jokes that hit a nerve, correcting you publicly instead of privately, public comparisons to other men, rolling eyes when you speak, teasing that's clearly at your expense, not in good faith. These are not harmless habits. They are early signs of a power imbalance, where she feels entitled to control or diminish you. And if you allow it to continue, your identity will shrink one insult at a time. What you must do as a man: address it the first time. I don't allow people to speak about me that way, even jokingly. Calm, not cruel, firm, not fearful. 2. Set the standard. If you have feedback for me, I'm open, but bring it to me privately, not in front of others. 3. Watch her response. A woman who respects you will apologize. A woman who wants power will escalate. 4. Protect your public image. You don't need praise, but you must demand respect. Let the world see how you teach others to treat you, especially the one closest to you. If she can't respect you publicly, she doesn't deserve you privately. Never forget, public humiliation erodes private intimacy. The man she shames in front of others will never be the man she truly surrenders to in love. You don't need a woman who plays queen in public and tyrant in private. You need a woman who matches your respect. Word for word, glance for glance. And if she can't, then no matter how beautiful she is, how good the chemistry feels, or how deep the history runs, she is not your home. You deserve a love that lifts your name, not leaves it in ruins. Comment below, I speak with honor, I expect respect. Type it below if you're no longer tolerating public shame or private disrespect, and you're ready for a higher standard of love. Chapter 4. Weaponizing intimacy and withholding affection. There's a quieter form of control that many men endure without ever speaking a word. It doesn't come through yelling, insults, or arguments. It comes through silence, through the subtle use of intimacy as a weapon and affection as a bargaining chip. When a woman begins to withhold connection, not out of hurt, but as a strategy, you are no longer in a relationship. You are in a power game. Behavior number 4, weaponizing intimacy. A healthy relationship isn't a negotiation table where love is conditional, but in toxic dynamics you may start to notice physical affection is withheld until you give in to her demands. Sex becomes a tool for control, not a genuine act of love. Emotional closeness disappears the moment you disagree or take the lead. This is manipulation, not maturity. True intimacy is freely given, not earned, through compliance. You were not made to be trained like a dog. You were built to lead, to protect, and to connect deeply, without conditions. Affection is not a currency. Emotionally intelligent men understand. Love should not be conditional on obedience. When a woman begins to use her body or presence as leverage, she's not showing feminine power, she's showing insecurity. She fears not being able to influence you through wisdom, so she tries to control you through denial. But intimacy in a real relationship is not currency. It is the result of connection, trust, respect, and vulnerability. Wisdom from the past. The Greek philosopher Epictetus once said, "If you want something good, get it from yourself." You must never be emotionally enslaved by someone who only shows affection when you're compliant, because once she knows affection controls you, she will use it to shape you away from your purpose, your masculinity, and your vision. And slowly you'll begin to trade your truth for temporary pleasure, your edge for emotional scraps, your fire for her approval. Signs of weaponized intimacy. She becomes cold or distant after a disagreement. She only gets physically close when she wants something. She avoids affection unless you earn it. She uses phrases like, "You don't deserve me," or "You're lucky I still love you." These aren't expressions of love, they're tools of domination, and the more you accept it, the more you lose yourself. What a Stoic Golden Man must do one. Don't chase affection. You are not a child begging for attention. If she withholds love to manipulate, step back and reclaim your energy. 2. Address it directly. Affection is not a reward. If you're upset, let's talk, me tea, but withholding intimacy isn't the way forward. 3. Reaffirm your self-worth. Her validation is not your oxygen. Your presence is a gift, and she must treat it like one. 4. Walk away if necessary. If the relationship becomes a cold war of tactics, not a sanctuary of truth, then release it. Do not beg, do not plead, detach. True love flows, it doesn't force. Real intimacy doesn't come through fear or guilt. It comes from mutual safety, mutual effort, and mutual respect. And the right woman will never use love as a leash. She will give freely as you give freely, and together you will build, not barter. Comment below, "Love is not control. I give freely and I require the same." Type it below if you're done with emotional games and ready to claim a love that flows without force.